Hello and welcome back to the Bourbon Bar. I'm Holden, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys a head-to-head video between the one and only Buffalo Trace and Bowman Brothers. Now, for those of you who don't know, Buffalo Trace is from the Buffalo Trace Distillery, where they all use a couple different mash bills, but in particularly the most famous, or one of the most well sought after ones, is their Mash Bill 1. Mash Bill 1 includes Buffalo Trace, Eagle Rare, E.H. Taylor, and a lot of those very popular bottles that a lot of you might be looking for. Now, the Bowman Brothers and the entire line of the Bowman Brothers use the same mash bill as Buffalo Trace. They actually source from Buffalo Trace their Mash Bill 1, but age it in Virginia, where the actual distillery is. That being said, I thought it would be a fun idea to compare the two in a blind and see which one I think is better and which one I think you should go buy. Now, Buffalo Trace, I believe I picked up this bottle around $26, $27. I believe that Bowman Brothers is right around that same price range, maybe closer to 35. However, it's the same stuff, and I believe that the Bowman Brothers is easier to find recently. I've noticed it a lot more in stores, whereas Buffalo Trace is hit or miss. You never know when you're going to find a bottle nowadays. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and pour Buffalo Trace into glass A, which you guys can see right there. And I'm going to pour the Bowman Brothers into glass B, which you guys can see right there. Now it's time to mix these up. Now, I'm going to talk to you guys, that way you know that I have my attention on you, and I'm not paying attention to how many times I'm switching these in circles and what I'm doing with them, or which one's where, and make sure they're well mixed up, that way I'm not cheating. Alright, I don't know which one's which, but it's time to get into these and taste them and see how fantastic they are. And we all know that Buffalo Trace is good, but Bowman Brothers should have a similar palate as Buffalo Trace, seeing as it's the same mash bill. But we're gonna go ahead and get into glass numero uno. And I think that smells familiar. Now, it's been a while since I've drank Buffalo Trace, and I've only had one or two pours of the Bowman Brothers. But I am getting a little bit of that vanilla bean on the nose here. Definitely a little bit of oak and some caramel. Very center of the road bourbon flavors in this one. I do feel like it's getting a little bit of spice on it, though. Just a little bit, like a hint of cinnamon. Nothing aggressive, though. It's almost like a pastry, like a cinnamon roll. We're going to go ahead and get the palate of this one. Wow, okay. First thing I noticed immediately on the front of the palate is very sweet. Very vanilla-y. The mouthfeel, it's not too thin. It's got a decent mouthfeel to it. It has a little bit of that almost like a metallic vanilla, like frosting on a cake. It also kind of has a little bit of that cinnamon in there that I was talking about that I was getting on the nose, but it is overwhelmingly sweet on the palate. It's, you know, moderately short finish, but I think both of these whiskeys are going to have that short finish. It's honestly pretty damn good, if I do say so myself. There's some kind of fruit, but it's almost closer to a raspberry. And I know when I normally drink Buffalo Trace, I'm getting in the strawberry realm, but those are two very close fruit profiles, so it's hard to say. But we're gonna go ahead and put down glass number 1 and pick up glass number 2, and we're gonna see if we can tell any differences between the two. Okay. Immediately I'm noticing a little less sweetness. It seems a little bit more muted as well, but a little bit more aggressive on that spice. It's almost like that cinnamon stepped away from a cinnamon roll and kind of jumped more into the cinnamon spice that you use when you're baking. It seems like there's a lot more oak presence in this one. I'm unsure how many years are between the two, how long Buffalo Trace is aged versus the Bowman Brothers, but if I were to guess, I would say that this one is probably a little bit older. It definitely seems like it has a little bit more character on the nose, but at the same time, a lot less of that sweetness, and maybe that's where I'm getting this character from. But we're going to go ahead and jump on the palate. Okay. Definitely a lot less sweet on the palate of this one compared to the last one. This one definitely has a lot more of that aggressive cinnamon spiciness. It's almost like a little bit hot of spices in there. It's not overly sweet at all. I'm having trouble finding any kind of super vanilla-y flavor that I'm getting on glass number one. However, it does taste, I mean, pretty good. The mouthfeel is a little bit more viscous than glass number one, but at the same time, it's, you know, it's a horse apiece. They're both relatively low proof whiskeys. The finish on this one, though, I would say is definitely a lot warmer. I get a little bit more of a Kentucky hug. It feels like I'm actually drinking something with a little bit of a punch to it, which I thoroughly enjoy. I like that a lot better than a super easy drinker, but, you know. It is very good. It's hard to say right now, but I'm not going to guess till the end of the video and after I rank them. But I'm going to let these two take a breather, open them up a little bit, and I'm going to go back the other way. And this would be a perfect time to tell you guys to go subscribe to my Patreon. The link is down in the description. Also, check me out on Instagram at @thebourbonbar_. And if you guys would ever like to send me any samples or anything like that for me to review, or even just collab with me at all, hit me up in my email, which will be linked below. Also, I am going to start live streaming soon. I actually bought all the stuff to do live streaming the other day, and I ended up getting the wrong cord. I meant to get a micro HDMI cord, and I ended up getting a micro USB cord, of course. But anyway, if you guys are liking the video so far, hit a like and tell me which one between these two are your favorite. That being said, I'm going to talk to you guys after these open up. Alright, we are back. So, I let these open up a little bit, and while I was doing that, I did look up the age. The Buffalo Trace has to be usually a minimum of 8 years is what I've seen, and the Bowman Brothers is 6 to 7 years old. That being said, the Bowman Brothers is slightly less of age, and the Buffalo Trace has a little bit more of that character probably. But we're going to go back the other way, starting with glass number 2 and working our way to glass number 1. I'm going to see if it's changed and how it's opened up, and I'm going to give you guys a verdict on who I think wins. Okay, so this time around, that cinnamon that I was getting before turned into literally sugar cinnamon. I don't know if you guys ever had this as a kid, but when I was a kid, I had buttered bread and I would sprinkle on cinnamon sugar because it was amazing. And if you haven't done that, you should definitely try it. But this honestly smells like buttered cinnamon sugar bread to me, which is amazing, and I like it a lot. There's a little bit of that fruity notes in it, almost like, but I would get more of almost a slight nuttiness on it, just a little bit, but there is a little bit of a nuttiness there. Okay, and the palate pretty much stayed a little bit the same. I am getting a little bit more nuttiness now on this glass, but it's definitely more aggressive oak and cinnamon spice. It's a little bit warmer than glass number 1 was, but it's, you know, got a little bit of that nuttiness that I just told you about. Overall, very good whiskey. I mean, it's hard to say which one of these I'm preferring right now. It's going to be a decision that I'm going to have to think on slightly. But we're going to go move back into glass number 1, and we're going to see how much this one opened up and how much it compares going back the other way. Okay, so this one is definitely way sweeter. I mean, still a lot of that vanilla on the nose here. Definitely some fruit in there. And a little bit florally, not super aggressive, but a little bit floral. Oh man, this is tough. This is really tough. This one is smelling a little bit closer to the Buffalo Trace profile that I remember, but like I said, these are the same mash bill and they could be either or. The palate still has a lot of that sweet oak on there and caramel and a little, maybe like a toffee, but super fruity vanilla. I mean, it's like vanilla Oreos. It really is. Which unfortunately is a note that I get a lot in Buffalo Trace. Now, if I were to guess, I would guess that this one is Buffalo Trace and this one is Bowman Brothers. But the real question is, which one do I think is better? And just going on this blind alone, oh, it's so hard. Wow. Okay, it's very difficult, extremely tough decision, but I would have to say that glass number 1, it's a little bit better. Just a little bit. And when I say that it's a little bit better, I mean, depending on my mood, I would pick glass number 2 over glass number A. It really just depends how you're feeling. Glass A has a lot more of that sweet, vanilla, fruity, toffee notes, but glass B has so much of that sweet cinnamon sugar deliciousness, that buttery cinnamon sugar bread, and that oak spiciness with a little bit heavier punch to it. And I mean, they're two whiskeys that they're not entirely the same, and I really love them both. But glass number 1 is a victor. That means that glass number A, which is Buffalo Trace, comes in first, making glass B, the Bowman Brothers, coming in second. Now, what do I think about this revelation? I almost expected it going in. Buffalo Trace, there's a reason that it's popular, and there's a reason that it has such a huge following and such a huge name. It's because it's a good whiskey. And I honestly think that if you're someone who likes a little bit more aggression and a little less of that sweet, tame notes, you should opt for the Bowman Brothers. It's a good pour, and it definitely has a lot of character to it. I really loved the Bowman Brothers, and I think that if I was gonna pour one tomorrow, I might pour the Bowman Brothers, but today I am choosing Buffalo Trace as the victor. Buffalo Trace is about $26. Bowman Brothers, I think, is around that $35 mark, somewhere near there. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I think Buffalo Trace is the way to go. It's just hard to find. So that being said, if you guys like Buffalo Trace, but you can find it, definitely pick up a Bowman Brothers. It's similar, but you know, not entirely the same whiskey. I mean, it's good stuff. If you see it, pick it up. That being said, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and leave a comment in the comment section which one of these two whiskeys you guys prefer, and I will see you in the next glass.